Hi, welcome to my channel. This is Peggy from the Pearl Forest, and I'm doing my Play Your Hand, hashtag Play Your Hand for August 2024. And if you want to play along with me, you can also put it under hashtag Play Your Hand and we can see them. Today is August 13th. We're going to use playing cards and school book pages. Once again, you can always come up with something as a replacement if you don't have these. But for a lot of parents, kids come home with things. You might have homeschool pages, things from public school, or they might just be flyers from something, anything that's somewhat similar. You could also just use a magazine page if you don't have them. But I'm using up this book. This is for day 13 of our challenge. This says Learn More, which I think goes nicely with our activity page. So, to start with, you take your pages and tear them out. You seem to have a button in here. I've tore out several of them, but you just can cut them out or tear them out, however your assortment works. Sometimes they have pictures that you might want to use, and sometimes they have words that are nice to put in there. So you can decide what works with what you're making. Okay, for our journal cards today, I have pulled out buttons. Who's got the button? I have a lot of them hanging around. I've pulled out some playing cards. These are just standard playing cards. And then I also have some possible pockets that we could use. But first of all, we'll cover these. Let's see if we have... Oh, here's a nice plain white surface on all of these here. So let's just glue our cards onto that. We also have this writing area. That would be good. Is this totally, yeah, down to about this line, so that'll be good. So hope everybody's doing good today. This is actually my second video of the day. You can watch more than one in a day if you choose to, or you can watch just part of one, whatever might work for you. And if you subscribe and ring the bell, then you'll know when I do another one, so you don't have to wonder. And right now I'm doing one for every day of the month of August. And if that's too much for you to watch, you can always catch up with us later. But if you do the subscribe and ring the bell, you'll at least know when one has come out. And it will be easier for you to get there and find it. I should not have turned that in that direction. That limited my space, but it's not quite stuck, so I'm going to give it a turn. There we go. So we got 3 of them on the plain white. There, and on we have a big section here. Would have a little yellow if we put it through here, but that will be okay. But we'll still have some good lines to write on. Now these are going to be going horizontal, that's not a bad thing. Let's see, I wanted them to go down here. Okay. You can glue whichever side you want to be your writing side. Sometimes I leave the colored side for the decorative side, because then if some of it shows, that's okay. Okay, and we'll cut these out. This is a good place to get some words if you want, even some in cursive. And some of these kids' activity books, and some cute little pictures. I'll set these cursive words aside, plus this pencil. I think that might be fun to use somewhere. And most of these words are not cut apart either, so those would be good. If you need just a little bit of lines, we have those. Okay, so I'm going to put these aside for right now. We might use those for the pictures, decorating the other side. But so far, we've been able to use our school paper for the journaling side as well. Now, maybe your homework pages or activity books don't have a blank spot, but maybe they have enough of a pastel, lighter color. Doesn't have to be pastel, but light enough to write on, and mostly solid. You could write on that as well. Or you could just get some coffee dyed paper or some notebook paper or a page out of a journal book. I sometimes have journal books that we start that we decide we don't want to keep using, and then I harvest the extra pages to use for the back of these. Okay. I'm hoping that you're finding some different things you might not have thought about that could be a page. I know playing cards go a long ways. You get over 52 in a package. You have jokers, and sometimes you have a brand name card, or you might have an instruction card, or some other things like that. But you have at least 52, unless you get a used set that maybe is missing something, but that's okay. You still have a lot. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about the corners because I will round them after we do it. But we now have a blank spot to write. This one has a little yellow and some lines, so we'll do that way to make some cards that are horizontal instead of vertical, or landscape instead of portrait. So they're going to go like this and like this. Okay, you can turn them over. I think we'll put that on that side and see what we have that we could use. Here we have a farmer with his harvest. We could get the harvest, but not quite all of them. This barn with the pumpkins would fit on here nicely. Let's cut that out. So we'll just fussy cut around the edge. These are not my best fussy cutting scissors. They have wandered. My Tim Holtz ones would probably do a nice job, but I'm trying to save them for fabric at this moment. We could also get numbers, make some little labels out of parts of the book. Could do a video on all the stuff we could harvest out of one book. But I don't know that I have a whole book anymore because I've been cutting them up. But maybe we'll take some of those things and put them on our journal cards. So this one has a lot of colored pictures. This is interesting with a little over arrow. That might be fun on something sometime. You could use this little skinny edge to stamp on, but I think I'm going to not, because I have a whole bunch that my mom just gave me from her card making when she cut out her stuff, so I have quite a supply. Okay, so this can go on our upright one. We'll add some other things. That could go in a gardening one. Here's some gardening tools. In the sun. Let's, whoops, save this one. I think these pictures that go all the way up like this, they're too tall to get on these cards. What words did we have? We had water, swamp, swan, wash, wasp, watch, swamp. Here's garden and farmer. Why don't we just cut out the garden? And we can put on the cursive and the printed, or we could cut them apart. I think it would be kind of fun because we're doing the kids' book to actually do both. This goes good with water. We'll look, what else do we have? You could put half the stack of things. Oh, we could do some chickens. Let's see, we could get pretty much down to there. So we'll cut this out and then we'll just trim off what's too much. But this book, because it's a writing book, it has a lot of penmanship spaces and practice your spelling and things like that. So we have lots of blank spaces and spaces to write. Okay, take this off here. If you're doing a journal with a specific theme, like say gardening or a farm or something, it would be fun to make a set of cards that had to do with that theme. But you can also do a bunch like this and put them in your done box, and when you make a journal you can look through there and see if any of them would be good. Maybe you're not making a farm, but you like the chicken and the eggs. Maybe it's a bird book or a chicken book or a book about eggs. There's no end of what you could make as a theme of a journal. It's all up to what do you like, what do you have available, what interests you. And even if you're doing a daily journal or a prayer journal or a these are my thoughts journal or poetry and things I'm writing journal, you can have all kinds of different ephemera in there, and that your journaling would take on the theme of whatever your book is. Maybe this one would be in a prayer journal where you're wanting to think about the young, or about food, or families, or any number of things, whatever it can represent to you as a reminder for prayer for that. Okay, so this can be one here. Move this out of the way. And we could look for a word that has to do with it. We could even put other chickens on the back. Here's the word chick. Make sure I don't get check, but I get chick. Go extra long until we decide how long we want that to actually be. And here's a little squirrel on his tractor. Here's another harvest with the pumpkins. Or here's some tall leaves that could go down a side. We need to look for some that go this way. What else? What else do I have? I have pigs. I have chickens and worms. I have boats sailing. Here's a little bird on a stump. That would be cute on one of those. And here's some flowers and a bee. So this could go on a tall one. This could go on a shorter one. And this bird could go on a shorter one. And this is actually a little tall, but this bird should work. And I think I was tracing it to go on a card. So I think I have it up higher than I need. So let's put this one on here. This is a poetry page. I think once a month in there they had a poetry page. Okay, I want this to fit on here. I'm going to get a little bit of that line, or I'm going to get these words up here. Sure, I'm going to get all of the boat. You have a little bit of time to move it, which is good. Okay, hopefully that works. It's nice to go back over to the other side as well and rub it down. Trim off the page. I think I trimmed this a little crooked. Oops. No one says you can't cut your card a little shorter. Hopefully that's straight enough. Here's a little color for the edge. We'll figure out what else to put on there. I did have a sunshine down here in one of these previous ones. Kind of brings out the guy on the boat, but I don't know if we can get it on around the sailboat. We can try. It's always nice to layer some things and not just have the picture as it was. Especially if you're using somebody else's picture. So to add some other things and change it up is good. But you can use things that you have, that you've purchased for your own stuff. You can't make copies and sell it. You could give it away, or you could use them for your own personal stuff. Or alter it enough, like tear it up and make a collage or something, that it becomes your own and not the original. Okay, I think I might have to cut a notch in this to go around. Here's the word garden. I think we'll keep that. So if this was up here in this corner, and I kind of like it over here, but kind of behind. Let's see if we go off the edge a little bit, put it a little bit to the side, but sort of in the center. And we can just reach up here and snip where our sail is. Lose our little flag here. Wonder how I can get that up there. I have a pencil. Maybe I'll just try my yellow pencil. This comes down about like that. Up here, like that. Let's see. So it's not exact, but we can go around it enough that it sort of becomes believable. A little bit more over here. Just get the flag in. If it had a little bit of white right there. That's yellow. I don't know if I could get that in there, so I might have to just go with what I have. Could touch it up with a little white paint. You have some white paint. So we have the sun and the clouds behind the sail. Do we have a word that says that we're sailing? We didn't have that. A swan, wash, ways. Let's see, what was with the poetry? Boats sail on rivers. How about just sail on? Well, boats sail on the rivers and ships sail on the seas. Which do I like best? We have just cutting the words out of this little poem. Boats sail on the rivers and ships sail on the seas. Do we want boats sail on the rivers or ships sail on the seas? It kind of looks more like sea to me. So let's go with that one. just distress these edges a little bit. Glue this on. Okay, whoops, stuck to my finger there. You could put a little number on. Just cutting this off the activity page, trying to get it square. Okay, just stress its little edges. And it's just a random number from a page that I found. Could just hang this off the clouds. Or could put it on the sail, but it's already here, I think. Okay, and we can round these corners. And distress this edge. At least enough to get the white edges distracted from. A little bit on this side. I found an exciting thing this week that we can actually try on some of these other ones. So there's one, some things from the activity page book. Could do our garden. We could put some other paper behind. Well, we have some wheat. That might be nice to just put on here. So let's cover this with some wheat. Get it growing the right way. This is just some wrapping paper, that scrap that I had around the house. When I get to the end of my rolls of wrapping paper, or even in the beginning, I will often take them off the roll and flatten them out, and I might even cut them 12 by 12 or 9 by 12 or 8.5 by 11 or something like that, that I can then store them easily. So they're not just out in my stuff all rolled up and getting crunched and stuff. Okay, so do our farmer. Put on this. I think I wanted the garden to be slightly behind it though, so let's glue it at the same time. Isn't it nice we have these glue holders? So I think we'll put garden up in this corner, but let a little bit of that show. And then put our barn down in this corner. Oops. Except we're covering up our G, so I think we have to go up higher if we can still get it off. So maybe we need to go to the edge of the card. You have a little bit of wiggle room, not a lot. And I should have distressed this, but we'll just do that now. Maybe put a little elsewhere. Okay, so this is over the edge a little bit. So we have our farm and our garden, and where did I put that? found some of my other distress inks, and I knew I had this, but I didn't peek underneath where I have stored the pieces that go with it. So what would be good on this one? Maybe this one. This is brushed corduroy. So we can put our one that matches this on here. So nice to have this back out so that I can do it this way. The brush thing works, but this just works so much better and actually faster and more accurately. Am I off the edge? I'm sorry. See how much faster that is? And actually, if I'm going to round to the corner, I should do it now. Probably shouldn't have rounded it that much. Let's see, if I put this on here as a guide, I'm going to come close to that end, but I'm not going to go over it. So I'm going to go ahead and go for it. Yay, didn't cut it off. Okay. Now we can do our corners too. And this holds more ink, I think, so you don't have to re-ink it as often. See how much faster that is and much nicer job it does. I'm excited. So this is brushed corduroy. Right, we have our garden. Now we have our chick. And what would we like to do? I think I'll keep this one out to use again. What would we like to put on here for paper? Actually, the wheat isn't bad. But this, let's see, I have some green polka dot, but maybe this green or some of this. I think I'll use this one. It kind of brings out the top of the chicks nicely. Glue stick, glue stick. I have to tell you that with this being day, what is it, 13? I have been trying to keep up with my extra pieces of the different things and to put them away, but I'm getting behind and my desk is getting really messy. Okay, so most of this will be covered. We'll only see the edges. So I think we could just, I don't want the writing part, so stick this out here. So one of these days I just need to sit down without a video even and clean off my desk and get caught up. I do it as a video, but I already have so many. I'm not sure if you guys are able to keep up with all of them. So I don't want to burden you with another one. Okay, once again, let's round this ahead of time so we can see where we are. Whoops, what happened there? Did that get trimmed? It did not. Stick it back in there and trim it, and oops, kiss the corner with some glue stick. And if you need to, you can use art glitter glue or something else like that. You might even use peel and stick like tapes to glue things down. A lot of people use those. This has a nice interesting number down here. This is actually from a Lego catalog or box or something, but I painted over it so you really can't see that, but that's what's giving it its texture. But that's another packaging type thing that you can find. Oh look, we can leave the number. That's a nice addition. You have to go all the way up to get this on height-wise, and I did not distress the edge, unfortunately. Now this this corner is coming up on the back. Don't know why this particular card is having troubles. Okay, so we have them on there, and then we have chick. Maybe just put it partway through the middle. Get rid of these extra pieces. Let's do this color so it stands out. I think you can see when I'm back over here. Okay. I try to harvest wherever I can. There's a Duplo flower. It's not going to be there though because we're covering it up. Okay, so there we have the word chick. And we can distress around the edge and maybe give it a little extra on the roof here to blend in those white edges. Maybe a little extra down here on the chickie's feet. If we can get in around the little chickies, that's good too. If it's like the ground. Okay. Oh, we got something sticking out the side. We'll trim that off. So again, this is brushed corduroy, and it's Ranger Distress ink. And these might be Ranger as well. Okay, so there we have the chick. Now, let's see, these two are going to go like this. So we'll fussy cut out this one. Be thinking about what we would like to be the background. Maybe that green we saw earlier would be good. The other one with the birds splashing, I don't think I'm going to be able to cut them out enough that I would want to put green behind it. Maybe just a coffee dyed something so that I can just distress a little bit and blend it in. You have to choose whether or not you can get in there for a fussy cut. Okay, oh, this has some little mushrooms. I didn't see those. Don't know that we want this red line though. So we'll cut just, oops, just above it and around the tree. Okay. Let's put this green on here. Maybe up here towards the top. Wrong side. If you ever make that mistake, you can take it off and wipe the glue off and let it dry, or you can just put a new journal surface on the other side, and this can become your decorative side. So most everything is fixable in some way, so don't worry about it too much. Don't have to be a perfectionist. Okay, just trim this off. And if your paper doesn't glue completely down like mine, the corners come up a little bit, you just go back and glue it some more. I'm going to be making a whole bunch of new painted papers in the near future. So that's cute. We'll find some words or something to go with that. Let's see, did we have some words here? What do we have? We have chick, but that doesn't really apply. I think this needs a little, just a tad more white off. Born, says, was, watch. We could put our bird over here and he could be watching. I'm where. I think we'll go with watch. Nowadays, cursive is almost a lost art. So could put them both on because some people are not able to read cursive or write cursive. So maybe this will be a hint for somebody in the future how to decode cursive. If you don't learn cursive at all, how do you write your signature? Or do you not worry about that? I see this little leaf stamp. That might be fun to put in the background. Maybe I'll just use this to ink my stamp since I have such a little square here. What if we put some leaves on here? That's kind of nice. Maybe, oops, this one goes up to about there. Try doing this. So put it down a little bit. It'll be growing from behind the stump. We do this one at a little bit different angle. There. Now, kind of distress around our bird and stump. Try to hide those white spaces. Do you know that it's easy to make your own stamps? You can do that one day. How about 109? Maybe that's too big like the upper one, so maybe we'll make it smaller. Maybe to make it different, we'll just notch little notches out of the corners. This is a way to make your own labels if you don't have labels. Sometimes you can get a punch that will punch them out in different shapes, which would be nice to have too. I do not have one of those. I don't really want to go on these bushes, but let's see if we kind of run off the edge of the card a bit. Put our words up here and put on our bird. I actually made some little envelope type things that we could put these cards into the activity pages also. So see, there we have our stamps behind, and we could just wrap that around. That's kind of nice, but give it something there. We need to round our corners. This looks like it's not quite straight. Okay, so we ink the edge. So we have some that are landscape direction to go in a pocket. They have penmanship lines, which you could use or not. You could even just write in this little skinny spot and have a lot more lines. Depends on how small you like to write. Okay, now this one, our birds, I think I might make it a more general cut because I just can't get in there as much as I would like. So let's see. Don't really want this line. I can't keep this splash if I do that. Or movement line or something. Okay. Kind of wiggly through his hair. Down around the wing. I think, yeah, I do have a blue distress ink. I think we'll try that one on this. That will make this blend in more. And I could have cut this bird off and put him back on separately, but I'm going to just leave him hooked together as he is. And use the distress ink to fill in. So there's our birds. And we have the word water. Oh, this one. We'll just use the word water. We do have a watering can with the bird, but I don't think I can get it to go in there as well as I'd like. We do have some little sprinkles of water though, and that's okay. Maybe we'll just nip the corners of this. Sort of gives it a little bit of a rounding. Okay, so if we put this closed and we put this back in the bottom, then it'll be there waiting for us, and we'll get this blue one. We need a background too. What I have for background, I do have this blue origami paper. Very blue, but not bad. Let's see how this looks on the edge. Maybe we'll put it down so we can get in here more. This is a way to get those white spots that you can't trim easy, or if it's real delicate for cutting out. Okay, so that's not too bad. Now we'll go around the edge. Do it. Okay, and our word water. All right, so let's, oh, here's our paper. Let's put the blue color on the background. It'll be a very blue card, but that's okay. That will go in a journal that's wanting blue, or water, or birds, or just a variety. Sometimes journals are fun to just have a variety of things. This origami paper is left from yesterday's video when we did origami paper. It's just a very thin paper. Sometimes scrapbook papers are very thin. Different brands can be thin. That was actually an 8x8, but usually they're 6x6, but that's useful, the word out, for a lot of things, like covering something like that. 6x6 is plenty. Somehow we're a little off on that side, but you know what? We just won't see it because we're gonna distress it with this one, which is called Chipped Sapphire. I thought it was a denim one, but it's Chipped Sapphire. So this does the edges and around. And I want to lay it down where it's the direction I want so I can get this on correctly. Put water over here and the birds there. Okay. And glue this one on. Needs to be pretty close to this edge over here. Maybe not put the tail down until I put this label on. Try not to cover it up, but also have room to round the corner. There we go. That seemed to come out quite right. So there's our birds in the water, the word water. I don't know if we want other numbers or not. I think maybe just wait and add that when we're putting it in the journal. So let's see what we have around these corners. I need to do the blue distress ink on the back to match. So these are our cards. But before I show you them all up close, I'll show you that I made an activity card out of part of the activity book. And you can add other things to that. I took a page, cut a double journal card size, whatever size that you want. This one is 6 by about 4.5. And then I folded it in half and then folded this corner down and glued it inside and glued around here to make a pocket. So those can be decorated up and used. This is just a strip of it that could go along an edge and then add some other things, or you could just use the words like we were doing. Here's one where I've folded it like this, where I might want to keep the animals, and I could put it on a page, trim it down a little bit, put it on a page as a pocket or a flip down, or it could go on the edge if you don't mind it sideways, and then it could flip out and you could decorate or put other things in there. Here's another one that could flip out. I just did a little tiny edge, and you could glue that onto a page so that it would flip out, hinge, and then you would have this along here, which you can then cover up partly. You could also put it on where it'll go off this way. These also could be put around a page, and this could be a tuck. You glue here and here, and then this side could also be another tuck, or one could flip up for some writing space. This is a bigger one that I folded to go this direction to keep the pictures. This is the bunnies, and this is, so let's see, this is 5 and a little bit. So this was 8 inches across and about 6.5, and I just folded it over to maximize the pictures I wanted. Then you can glue that down on a page, and you can use it for a pocket. Maybe one of these that are, you know, going this direction where you could still see it, and you could write here. You could also glue it in such a way that you could put a card in here, or you could glue it around these 3 sides and put a card or a tag in there. So that's something else you can do if your pictures kind of line up. You could write your own words. So these are some other uses of the activity pages besides what we made today. And today we have these 5 cards in our hashtag play a hand. We have our little bird that's watching with the stamps. We have our farm of pumpkins, and it's labeled garden. We have our chickens and eggs with chick. We have our birds splashing, and it says water. And we have our sailboat in the sun and clouds that has a number and ships sail on the seas. So thank you for joining me for hashtag play your hand, where we made 5 journal cards today on day 13. I hope you had a good time with these, and you can find some similar things to use for yourself. Take care. This is Peggy from the Pearl Forest.